it's Bianca, and welcome to my book haul. Holy shit, I hope you're in a comfy position and you got a snack with you. Now, I did receive a gifted package in June from Book of the Month, so I got 5 books from Book of the Month, so I'm going to go through these, read them to you. This video right here is not sponsored at all. These are 2-month-old books, technically now at this point, from Book of the Month, but I'll link any links that I have in the description. Firstly, we are starting off with Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This, I hear, is very high on the market right now, very trendy. I keep seeing Instagram ads about it. I feel like I've seen a lot of influencers that are like in the book category kind of posting about this. We'll see if I'm interested to read it, otherwise I will go ahead and donate it to a little free library. Malibu Rising is from the best-selling author of Daisy Jones and the Six. Malibu Rising is a story about one unforgettable night in the life of a family. The night they each have to choose what they will keep from the people who made them and what they will leave behind. So this sounds sweet. It's a summer book. It's an end of summer book, so maybe I will actually read this before the summer ends. Breeze by August and then fall comes and I'm only into like Halloween. Only stay into the Halloween spirit until next summer. So Malibu Rising. If you've read this, leave a comment, let me know. Next, from that June Book of the Month box, I got The Maidens. This caught my eye very much so because I feel like the aesthetic of the cover, I hate judging books by the cover, but I am a judge. I judge the book by its cover ass bitch. Like, that's just how I am. This just fits the entire theme of my room and my life and what I'm into and what I'm interested in. I actually don't think that this is a book that I would typically pick up because of its context. It's called The Maidens by Alex Michaelide. So this book is a spellbinding tale of psychological suspense weaving together Greek mythology, murder, and obsession. Actually, wait, I would read this book. I don't really like horror. It really scares me and it freaks me out, so I don't know if this is going to be super horrifying or it's just going to be mysterious, and if it's mysterious, I'm totally into it, because the last book that I read, which looks like this, and I keep this right on my nightstand just because I already want to read it again, and it's so amazing. This is actually from the March Book of the Month collection. Fantastic. I commented on the author's Instagram because I was so obsessed with it that I was like, girlfriend, like, you need praise, like, right now on social media. So super cute, but hopefully like this mirrors what this kind of theme is, because I was really into this and I want to be really into this. So let's go ahead and dive in a little bit more on the blurb just to see if like my brain is capable of reading this or if it's genuinely just like a horror book, because I'm really not into that. Edward Fosca is a murderer.
Of course. Great. Thank you, Edward.
Of this, Mariana is certain, but Fosca is untouchable. A handsome and charismatic Greek tragedy professor at Cambridge University, Fosca is adored by staff and students alike, particularly by the members of a secret society of female students known as the Maidens. Mariana Andros is a brilliant but troubled group therapist who becomes fixated on the Maidens when one member, a friend of Mariana's niece Zoe, is found murdered in Cambridge. When another body is found, Mariana's obsession with proving Fosca's guilt spirals out of control, threatening to destroy her credibility as well as her closest relationships. But Mariana is determined to stop this killer, even if it costs her everything, including her own life. Actually, this sounds maybe like something I would read. If it gets too intense, I could just put the book down. Like, it is a book. I could step away, put a bookmark in it. But if you guys read this, let me know if it's scary or if it's just like kind of fun. I love Greek mythology. I think it's really fun. I took a class in high school on it and I always would write little tips and tricks about the gods and the energies and this and that. And I always found it really interesting to be like wrapped up in this spiritual world that may have existed. This one is called Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. Evie Thomas doesn't believe in love anymore, especially after the strangest thing occurs one otherwise ordinary afternoon. She witnesses a couple kiss and is overcome with a vision of how their romance began and how it will end. After all, even the greatest love stories end with a broken heart eventually. As Evie tries to understand why this is happening, she finds herself at La Brea Dance Studio, learning to waltz, foxtrot, and tango with a boy named X. X is all that Evie is not: adventurous, passionate, daring. His philosophy is to say yes to everything. That's like Yes Man.
Oh my god, Jim Carrey is my favorite. Anyway.
Including entering a ballroom dance competition with a girl he's only just met. Okay, so this is a love story. This sounds cute. This like fate love affair of opposites attract. So this should be fun. I'll probably read this eventually, although this is like one of those like cheesy, I'm not saying it's cheesy and I'm not calling it cheesy. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to like be like that, but this seems like more of an easy read. But I mean, I'm not trying to offend any book here. I'm just trying to say what my taste is and that I feel like I'm more like sad and somber and like what the fuck just happened sorts of things that are based on historical evidence, but like not in a gut-wrenching way. That was very specific, I'm sorry. Mia Mackenzie's Sky Falling. The cover's really cute, it is really pretty. It has these nice colors to it, and all of these books, by the way, are hardcover. In this buoyant novel, a probing examination of the complexities of family, queerness, race, and community, a woman who's used to going solo discovers that there's one relationship she can't run away from. When she was 26 and broke, Sky didn't think twice before selling her eggs and happily pocketing the cash. Now approaching 40, Sky still moves through life entirely and unrepentantly of her own terms, living out of a suitcase and avoiding all manner of serious relationships. Maybe her junior high classmates weren't wrong when they voted her most likely to be single instead of most ride or die homie. Oh my god, that's so funny. But at least she's always been free to do as she pleases. In high school, I was voted, well, I won best dressed. Like, most unique dressed, it was actually called in my school. Then a 12-year-old girl tracks Sky down during one of her brief visits to her hometown of Philly and informs Sky that she's her egg. Sky's life is thrown into sharp relief and she decides that it might be time to actually try to have a meaningful relationship with another human being. Spoiler alert, it's not easy. Okay, so this is a story of somebody potentially finding their egg that they donated many, many moons ago, and that egg being an actual human being now. Very interesting. So this is kind of a more self-awareness situation. All of these books, by the way, are fiction that I have showed you so far. I have a book called School of Fear. My little sister was cleaning out her storage in her room, and she had so many books, so obviously I had to sift through them and claim some for my own. The cover is so cool. It's like all these like weird emo kids, and it was just something that I was really into. I don't want to say a middle school book, maybe it's a high school book. The letters are quite big, but it's good for me because it's an easy read. Chapter 28. There's 28 chapters and there's only about like 340 pages. There's just something about having this moment of like feeling like a little kid reading a book with your lamp on at night under your blankets that means a lot more to me than sitting there and pretending that I know SAT words. Everyone's afraid of something. Madeline Matterson is deathly afraid of bugs, especially spiders. Theodore Bartholomew is petrified of dying. Lulu Punchalower is scared of confined spaces. Garrison Feldman is scared of deep water, which is why this may be the scariest summer of their lives. Worse than detention or summer school. Even worse than the orthodontist. The foursome must face their phobias at the exclusive and elusive School of Fear. The school is unusual, to say the least, but terrifying would be a more accurate description. The curriculum is simple. Conquer your fears in 6 weeks or find out just how frightening failing could be. This was the first blurb that I just read in my series of books that I just read, you guys, that actually sent shivers down my spine. And I mean that in the best way possible. I got the chills, my armpits are a little sweaty. This makes me excited to read.
Love that.
I will link all the books below, probably like on Amazon or something. Sifting through my sister's get rid of pile, I found this book, aka what went on to be a bestseller. It's kind of a funny story. So I couldn't believe that she had this. I guess this is technically a novel. I feel like you guys know what this book is. I don't think that I ever read it. I might have read it considering anything that I had, I always passed down to my sisters. So this might have been mine. Don't really remember reading it. Really, really heavy book, even though it's not a hardcover. About 450 pages in this. Ned Vizzini, it's kind of a funny story. The New York Times said it's insightful and utterly authentic. This is an important book. Ambitious New York City teenager Craig Gilner is determined to succeed at life, which means getting into the right high school to get into the right college to get the right job. But once Craig aces his way into Manhattan's executive pre-professional high school, the pressure becomes unbearable. He stops eating and sleeping until one night he nearly kills himself. Craig's suicidal episode gets him checked into a mental hospital, where his new neighbors include a transsexual sex addict, a girl who has scarred her own face with scissors, and the self-elected President Armelio. There, Craig is finally able to confront the sources of his anxiety. Ned Vizzini, who himself spent time in a psychiatric hospital, has created a remarkably moving tale about the sometimes unexpected road to happiness. This is really sweet. I feel like, have I read this? I'm like out of breath because I'm like, I don't think that I've read this, but I know that it's an important book because the New York Times told me so. And also, Teen Vogue, in quotes, says, it is a book about depression that's not the least bit depressing. And I think that's really, really sweet. So I'm actually like gonna read this ASAP. Maybe we could start a virtual book club. So far, my sister's storage that she was going to donate and gave to me, A+. Next, we have Matilda. Obviously, this is a fun book haul. The fact that this was hidden in my sister's drawer for a long time when this was absolutely probably my book is really, really cool. Obviously, half the cover is bitten off, but I already knew that it was Matilda. I just love the fact that, like, we've probably had this since the 90s. Sometimes I'm like, does it still smell like my old house? Like, just cool. I think we all know the story of Matilda, Miss Trunchbull. As soon as I put my hair in a bun and I don't have makeup on, who do I look like? Miss Trunchbull. As I was also cleaning out my grandmother's house, I found some books, nothing crazy. My mom took a book, my mom found some of her old books, and then I found this book, which is The Official Rules of Card Games. My grandmother was an amazing woman, but she also was so good at card games. She loved playing poker, she loved playing Go Fish. Like, she'd play Go Fish with us because it was easy. She'd play, I don't even know, I can't even tell you the rest of the card games. That's all I know. I know Spit. Official Rules of Card Games, I felt like this was so important and I had to keep it because I need to learn how to play cards, because who's going to teach me how to play cards? It's just a giant rule book. And I think the book itself is amazing because the cover of it is green and black, like, I guess is it a poker table? And it's edited by Albert Moorhead, which kind of cool. I feel like, you know, it's a rule book, but it's fancy and fun. She left little sticky notes everywhere, so I have a little sticky note of hers in this Official Rules for Card Games, and I don't know, this is probably something she was taking notes on, or she just wrote it down really quickly. Again, I don't really know anything about cards, but I thought that was cool that I had. And lastly in my book haul, I want to introduce you to Half Sick of Shadows by Laura Sebastian. This is like a mermaid celestial sort of looking book. The colors of it are very celestial and very moon-like. You know, you have the teal, you have the gold, like stars in the moon and the sky. Really, really cool, but I think it looks like an underwater air situation. Up in this corner we have The Story of Camelot is Hers. This one's a heavy one. I think this might have been the thickest one out of all the hardcover books that I have currently in this realm. All of the hardcover books have an author blurb, so this is Laura, and let me read you the blurb to this, see if you like it, see if I like it. I have not read, again, any of the hardcover books. The Lady of Shalott reclaims her story in this bold feminist reimagining of the Arthurian myth from the best-selling author of Ash Princess. Everyone knows the legend of Arthur destined to be a king, of the beautiful Guinevere who will betray him with his most loyal knight, Lancelot, of the bitter sorceress Morgana, who will turn against them all. But Elaine alone carries the burden of knowing what is to come, for Elaine of Shalott is cursed to see the future. On the mystical Isle of Avalon, Elaine runs free and learns of the ancient prophecies surrounding her and her friends. Countless possibilities, almost all of them tragic. When their future comes to claim them, Elaine, Guinevere, Lancelot, and Morgana accompany Arthur to take his throne in stifling Camelot, where magic is outlawed. The rules of society chain them, and enemies are everywhere. Yet the most dangerous threats may come from within their own circle. As visions are fulfilled and an inevitable fate closes in, Elaine must decide how far she will go to change destiny and what she is willing to sacrifice along the way. That's actually really sweet. I thought that this book was totally different than that. Judging books by their cover, I thought it was like an underwater fairy tale. So please let me know in the comments if you've read any of these, if you're excited to read any of these, if you want to check any of these out. I am going to be linking them all in the description, and also in the comments if you want to do yourselves a favor. Please let me know your favorite book, or I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a middle school grade book. Obviously, the most excited I was to read anything to you guys was my middle school grade book. Without any further ado, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did like this video at any point, please, please, please subscribe. Give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows that you guys like it and I like it.
I'm doing correct in this world of...
And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!